Tell me if you've heard this one before. Chase Young trade rumors are once again on the docket here on the Commanders Report. Going to break those down here in just a second. Then also, defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio talks about the recent struggles of rookie cornerback Emmanuel Forbes and what his role might be looking like as we move forward into this NFL season and into Week 6 versus the Atlanta Falcons. Now, speaking of that matchup against the Falcons, every new subscriber that we get on the Commanders Report on today's video will be 1 point scored versus the Falcons on Sunday. We'll let you guys know how many subscribers we add on this Commanders Report live watch party on Sunday, starting at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you want a place to kick it with your fellow Commanders fans, click that subscribe button and help the Commanders win this weekend. So now let's start with Chase Young and these trade rumors that have once again resurfaced. NFL.com listed Young as a top trade candidate for the Washington Commanders here as we approach the NFL trade deadline in a couple of weeks. This is what Kevin Patra, the author of the article for NFL.com, had to say. Young has looked very spry since returning to the lineup in Week 2. The edge rusher has generated 27 pressures in 4 games, tied for 4th most in the NFL per Pro Football Focus, and has 3 sacks, losers of 3 straight, including a shellacking from the previously winless Bears at home in primetime. Washington is in danger of falling into the abyss. Continues to say here, the Commanders declined the 5th-year option for the injury-plagued former number 2 overall pick, which means Young is due to become a free agent after the season. With Washington already heavily invested on the defensive line and Montez Sweat also slated to hit free agency in 2024, the club should look to move Chase before the deadline. Continues to say here, finally healthy, Young's production could provide a force for a contending club and would net Washington a good return now instead of potentially losing him on the open market in the offseason. So you take a look at some of the Pro Football Focus grades along the defensive line right now, and they've been pretty darn good. This is very solid numbers, maybe not exactly as high as some of the Commanders fans' expectations were coming into the season. We don't have a single defensive lineman grading above 80 right now, which is a little bit of a concern. But right now, Chase Young, a 72.1 Pro Football Focus grade. He's tied for 4th in most pressures this year. That's very impressive. And then his counterpart, Montez Sweat, as well, has been doing pretty darn well as well. But I think the big question right now with Chase Young is, do you part ways with the guy at this point in the season? He has 11 tackles, 3 sacks, and 3 tackles for loss at this point in the season. And I actually think that he's looked really, really good. He's getting after the quarterback. And on film, at least in my opinion, he looks like the best defensive lineman on the Washington Commanders roster right now. Now, coming up here, I'm going to tell you whether or not I would trade Chase Young at the NFL trade deadline. But first, I want to tell you about our brand new sponsor here at the Commanders Report, which is Game Time. And Game Time is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. For me personally, if I ever want to go to like a concert last minute or an MLB baseball game, NBA basketball game last minute, I love doing stuff last minute, and Game Time is perfect for those types of people. They got the lowest price guarantee, and I absolutely love all the features that come with Game Time. Here are some of the best features that come with Game Time. Last minute tickets and flash deals. So really, like right before Game Time, if you're a last minute ticket type of person, you always know you're going to get the lowest price on Game Time. Games, concerts, and more. It's more than just sports. It's comedy. It's theater. It is music. It's a bunch of different stuff that you can go to. It's easy to use the app. The app has a bunch of great features, a 360-degree view of the seat before you buy it, so you know exactly what you're getting when you get to the arena. Views from the seats are excellent, and the lowest price guarantee is absolutely fantastic as well. There is absolutely a reason that Game Time is the fastest growing ticketing app in the country for a reason, guys. Get images of your seat before you buy so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Buy tickets in a matter of seconds. 2 taps and you're set. Tickets are sent directly to your phone as well, so you never have to dig through your email. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code NFL Chat. One word, all caps. NFL Chat, all caps, one word, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code NFL Chat for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Okay, so personally, I do not want to trade Chase Young, and I don't think that he is going to get traded, all right? I think right now, coming into this season, yes, you decline that fifth-year option, but that's not necessarily saying the Commanders are for sure going to want to get rid of him, right? That just means, hey, man, you've been injured. You haven't lived up to expectations to this point. This is going to be your year to really prove yourself for our organization. And I think Chase Young is doing that right now by being the most productive pass rusher on this roster right now. And really, I think that stellar start mixed with the massive potential, mixed with Ron Rivera, who we all know right now is fighting for his job. Even if the Commanders keep losing football games, I don't really think they're going to be sellers at the trade deadline because Ron Rivera wants all the best players on his roster to stay put, because if he's not making the playoffs, he's probably getting fired. This ownership group owes him nothing, and he knows that. He knows after missing the two straight playoffs here, he needs to get this team there this year. The pressure's definitely on, and you need Chase Young on this roster in order to make that happen. Now, if the front office is like, you have no choice, you have to trade one of these guys, I'm probably trading Montez Sweat over Chase Young. Now, I love both of these guys, man. I really, really do. And Montez is fantastic in his own right. He is an athletic freak. I actually think he might be more of an athletic freak than Chase Young. That might be a little bit of a hot take, but you look at the combine numbers, Montez Sweat was even more physically impressive than Chase Young that year. And, you look at the numbers, 19 tackles, 4.5 sacks, and 6 tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles as well. He's one of the best run defending defensive ends in the game of football today. He's an athletic freak, might not have the most tools in his tool belt in terms of pass rushing, but overall, I think he's an excellent player. I wouldn't want to see him go, but if the front office is like, hey man, we need to be sellers at the at the trade deadline, we need one of these edge rushers to go, I'm probably putting Montez Sweat on the trade block before Chase Young, just because Chase has looked so good and shown so much upside as a pass rusher to this point in the season. Now, for the record here, before you go into the comments section and say, oh, Sperry wants to get rid of all of our great edge rushers. No, that's not what I'm saying here. I really like Young and Sweat, and I really do think the Commanders are going to do whatever it takes to keep both of these guys on the roster for as long as they can. I think the plan is probably to give one of these guys a contract extension at some point, and then the other guy's probably going to get franchise tagged next offseason. I think that's probably what the plan is going to be, to try to keep this awesome collection of talent on the defensive line together for as long as possible. But it's certainly possible, if the Commanders keep losing as well, that one of these guys ends up getting traded. So which guy would you rather see get traded to another team here if you had to choose one? I know it's like choosing between your children here, man, but you got to do it. It's Sophie's choice here. Chase Young or Montez Sweat. Type CY if you're giving up Chase Young, or if you're giving up Montez Sweat, type MS down there in the comments. So now let's talk a little bit about defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio and some of the comments that he had about Emmanuel Forbes, 16th overall pick in this year's NFL draft, cornerback. Lots of high expectations. I had him tabbed as my defensive rookie of the year pick. That looks like that was an absolutely atrocious pick by me right now. But this is what Jack Del Rio had to say about his rookie corner. I'm just going to say it hasn't gone the way he would like, or we would like. So we'll just keep working at it. I believe in the young man. He's obviously had a rough start. Hasn't been as productive as we'd like him to be, and I know how much he'd like to be himself. Just got to keep working. That's what you do in this business. There's no shortcut. There's no easy way out. You just have to work. You can't really save anybody with words. It just comes down to working. I think you build confidence through your preparation and through your practice habits. That's what we'll stress and look to continue to build confidence in all of our guys. Now, this definitely doesn't sound like Jack Del Rio has a high level of confidence in Emmanuel Forbes at this point in the NFL season. We know over the last 3 weeks in particular, the rookie corner has absolutely been burnt toast against some of the best wide receivers in the National Football League. DJ Moore lit him up last week. A.J. Brown lit him up the week before that. And listen, I think that over-aggressive play style really worked in college. It was the reason why he was such a ball hawk and got so many interceptions there with the Mississippi State Bulldogs. But listen, man, if you're going to be a really aggressive corner, you can't be completely fooled by double moves. And that's exactly what DJ Moore got him on a couple times last week on Thursday Night Football. And then same thing with A.J. Brown, who hit him for a couple of touchdowns on some double moves. Emmanuel needs to learn that these guys, these number one receivers that he's going to be tasked to go up against throughout his NFL career are just a different breed, man. The route running, the physicality, the strength. I mean, I think Forbes is just getting straight up bullied out there right now, and you could definitely make the argument that he should be benched to try to save some of his confidence here. But then there's also the argument that if you bench him, he's going to lose all of his confidence anyway. You got to keep him on the field. So my personal opinion on this matter is I think you got to keep him on the field to some degree, but I also think you can't have him as like your number one corner. You can't be putting him up against guys like A.J. Brown, against DJ Moore. Like, you got to have Kendall Fuller as your number one outside corner right now, in my opinion, and you got to tell him, hey, man, you're going to go left side, right side. You're going to follow their best receiver on the outside, and Emmanuel Forbes is just going to have to take the secondary receiver. Now, that's going to mean probably some bad things when you go up against teams with two really good weapons, offensive weapons there at the receiver position. But overall, man, I do believe in Forbes' future. I'm not giving up on him completely, but man, the fact that he could have had Christian Gonzalez, that definitely stings right now, given what we know. So what say you guys? How do you feel about Emmanuel Forbes at this point in his NFL career? Do you think Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio should bench the young man? Type yes if you think he should be benched, or type no if you think that they should keep playing him and keep riding the rookie corner. That's going to be it for today's show, guys. Thank you so much for your support. Make sure you click that subscribe button. Join us for our live watch party, 12 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday for that Atlanta Falcons game. Really does feel like a must-win after 3 straight losses. So make sure you join us. We got a bunch of stuff coming up, live play-by-play, an hour of pregame, and then also super chat giveaways, all that great stuff. So if you want to join the fastest-growing community for Washington Commanders fans here on YouTube, do me a favor. Click that subscribe button right now.